Ladies and gentlemen, from the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace and Justice, Deacon Gerald Celente.
Hello, everyone. This is Deacon Gerald Celente of the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace, and Justice. Freedom, peace, and justice. Those are words that are not allowed on the mainstream media anymore. You're blacklisted if you say anything about those things of life that are being robbed from us day after day, week after week, and year after year. Well, there's maybe some good news out there, and that is a ceasefire deal from the Israel war that slaughtered, when you look at the numbers from Lancet, probably over 100,000 people, Palestinians, mostly women and children, place totally destroyed, bombed into ruin. But now there's the so-called peace deal. This is from the Times of Israel. Ben-Gvir says party to quit government if cabinet approves hostage ceasefire deal. He's their national security minister. And then Smotrich, who's the finance minister, said his party will quit the government unless it's sure Gaza war will resume at full scale. Remember that, because that's what Israel does every time they make an agreement. And we're going to read you the facts of why that's true. Going back to when they first started stealing the land from the Palestinians in 1947 and 48. So, on Friday, they agreed in Israel to a ceasefire deal, supposedly. And we're going to have to see what happens with it. But they write that this is from, again, the Times of Israel. It is unclear over the past day whether the full cabinet would convene to approve the deal or wait until Saturday night instead. The families of the hostages criticized the delay, issuing a statement demanding an urgent government meeting to approve the agreement. Quote, there is no justification to wait until after Shabbat. Lives are at stake, they said. Following the approval of the deal, the public will have 24 hours to file appeals to the High Court of Justice against the release of Palestinian security prisoners. What's a security prisoner? They've arrested, by some of the numbers that you see, well over 10,000 Palestinians, innocent people, and torturing them, putting them in hellholes. But it's only about the hostages. This is an article from Craig Murray. Ceasefire, not an end. Now, Craig Murray was a former British ambassador to Uzbekistan. He was on the other side, this guy. And I've seen him speak before. He's very passionate and true to his words. I'm going to read you some of what he said in an article that you could find the full article on Consortium News. What may be drawing to a close is merely a particularly intense phase in the genocide. Gaza is destroyed. 92% of its housing gone. Its water treatment and sanitation electricity, food processing, farming, fishing, are all now incapable of sustaining much life. It's hospitals, healthcare, health centers, universities, colleges, and schools are all now destroyed, as are the municipal buildings, waste disposal, road surfaces, drainage canals, theaters, cultural centers, cinemas, cafes, stores. They wrecked the whole place. And under the thanks of the American government, giving them the weapons of death to destroy everything, bomb it into ruins under the big lie that Hamas is living in every house, every school, every church, every mosque, every hospital. No outrage. Oh, and when you show outrage, you're banned. You're hated. You're an anti-Semite. And I want to make this clear as a deacon of the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace, and Justice. I do not believe the fairy tale that these, quote, Zionists keep shoving down people's throats, as do others that believe in their religion. I don't believe in it. You don't have to believe in mine. Don't you tell me I have to believe in yours. Because to me, it's a ignorant, moronic, Hollywood scripted, that's been going on for centuries, script that God told Abraham that this land belongs to the Jewish people 3,500 years ago. What, did God disappear? Where did he get lockjaw? God never showed up again. He didn't give him this land. Or is God a he or an it or a what? What God you talking about? Show up. Show up. Oh, no, it's over there, 3,500. You can't tell me why the Iraq War started. You're lying about that. And you're going to tell me a fairy tale. But going on to what Mr. Murray's writing, but even if they could be physically saved, the culture, the fabric of society are damaged beyond repair. The psychological damage is immense. The institutions of normality that might permit recovery are non-existent. Do you see these pictures of these little kids with no arms or legs? Do you see this? No, you're not allowed to see it. Yep. This is a very good article. I'm saying go to Consortium News. There's another one there by Chris Hedges as well that shows the farce of what's going on. The Western world has, in the support of its rulers for Israel, as it commits genocide, abandoned any presence to wish to maintain the system of international law that has been extended and developed post-World War II. Untold horrors of war may be unleashed as a result in the next decade. In both the US and the UK, governments ignored their own senior officials and legal advisors to break the human rights constraints which those nations have imposed upon their foreign policy, particularly with regard to the supply of weapons. In Poland, France, and several other NATO countries, the governments have openly repudiated their duty to enforce warrants of the International Criminal Court. In the UK, Germany, US, France, and throughout the Western world, there has been a massive rolling back of long cherished and hard-won rights of freedom of expression and assembly, explicitly to prevent criticism of Israel and support for Palestine. And that is the truth. We have been writing about it in the Trends Journal week after week after week after week, month after month after month after month. Look what they've done to these college students. Look at all the professors and presidents of universities they threw out because they were anti-genocide. But being anti-genocide in America and the Western world makes you an anti-Semite. And to make it clear, these are not Semites that are running Israel. They're Eastern Europeans, mostly Ashkenazis. That's right. Ends with an A-N-A-Z-I. Look it up. Netanyahu? You mean Milikowski? Ben Gurion? No, you mean Green. Oh, they changed their names. Yeah. The Palestinians are Semites. People from the Mesopotamia region are Semites. So you're not anti-Semite when you condemn genocide. He goes on to say, Mr. Murray, mainstream media support for Israel, total, and the tiny or no space for any dissenting view has become so established as part of the political landscape, it can go unnoticed, but needs to be highlighted. One of my books, my favorite book, of course, some of my books are trend tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine, Trends Journal, Trends 2000, international bestseller. But my favorite book is What Zitzi Gave Honey Boy. And Zitzi is the Neapolitan dialect for auntie. And they did a movie about it. Doris Roberts, the woman who played the mother in the TV show Everyone Loves Raymond, her last starring role was playing my Aunt Zitzi. And Zitzi, again, is the Neapolitan dialect for auntie. Doris Roberts died 19 minutes into the movie, 15 minutes into the movie. But the movie's on YouTube. You can see it, Zitzi and Honey Boy. And it's exactly what Murray said. That's how the movie began. I got blacklisted from all the media. I used to be on Oprah twice. Good Morning America, The Today Show, Fox, NPR, all the time. I came out against the Afghan war, said it was immoral. We had no business doing it. Afghan people did nothing to us. Wrote about the facts, published a magazine. We're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden dead or alive. That's what George Bush said. 90% of the Americans swallowed the baloney coming out of that craphead's mouth. I was opposed to it. Banned from the media, just as Craig Murray is saying. And freedom is banned. Freedom of speech is dead, and we're the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace, and Justice. Look what just happened on Thursday when Max Blumenthal, who is the head of the Gray Zone and a journalist, and Sam Husseini, 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 another journalist, went face to face with that little warmongering, arrogant little boy, Anthony Blinkin, who's our Secretary of Defense, another daddy's boy. And Judge Napolitano on Judging Freedom did an interview with him right after this happened. I strongly suggest you see this interview. Judging Freedom. Yep. This is how it's reported in the Times of Israel. This is the headline. Far left journalists shout at Blinkin about Gaza during his last press conference. Far left? That's the media. Propaganda. far left? How ignorant and stupid and childish can anybody be by putting someone in a category of right or left? A pair of far left activist journalists on Thursday heckled U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Heckled? Heckled? Again, nothing more than an arrogant little daddy's boy. I went to Dalton. I went to Harvard. My daddy was the ambassador. What to Hungary? His uncle was the ambassador to Belgium, or something like that. And Max Blumenthal said, your father-in-law was an Israeli lobbyist. Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you compromised by Israel? Why did you allow the Holocaust of our time to happen? How do you feel about your legacy of genocide? And he went on. And of course, they got him out. And then this other reporter, Sam Husseini, he was dragged out. 3 cops. You got to see this article, the podcast by Judge Napolitano. You have to see it. He said, everybody from Amnesty International to the International Court of Justice says Israel's doing genocide and extermination, and you're telling me to respect the process? Criminal. Why aren't you in The Hague? He yelled out as he's being dragged out by 3 big bully cops. Free press. That arrogant, nothing of a piece of dirt. Antony Blinken. All the lies that Hamas kept reneging on this agreement, totally false. Ben-Gvir even admitted to it, how they killed it time after time. Not reported in the American media. It was reported in Haaretz, not the American media. It's going to be a false timeout. Yeah, get the hostages back, but they're going to make up something to reattack. You have some 700,000, between 700 to 400,000, depending on the numbers you look at, illegal settlers in Palestinian West Bank territory. Illegal. Against international law. Against the Geneva Convention and Article 242 of the United Nations. What led up to the Hamas attack, which we were totally opposed to, on October 7, 2023? How about the continuing slaughter of Palestinians by the Israelis, throwing them in jail, throwing them out of their mosques, stealing their land? But when you fight back, you're an anti-Semite. I really suggest you read these articles. Go to Consortium News, the one by Mr. Murray and Chris Hedges. They're really putting down facts that you're not getting. We give it to you, of course, in the Trends Journal. But they have their very good facts that we're not reporting on, that they know that we don't know. As he writes here, Murray, saying just what I said, the Israelis did not start killing Palestinians on October 8th, the day after Hamas. And they will not stop killing them now. I expect the ceasefire agreement to go ahead as projected, with occasional Israeli anti-terrorist attacks continuing in Gaza. The Israelis will continually delay and renege on the provisions on aid access and withdrawal of troops. Palestinians in Gaza will die in large numbers of disease, hunger, and poor sanitation. Yep. And that's where we see it going. He ends by saying about Trump making all this happen. It is impossible to be certain about what Trump sees as the end goal. And that's one of your top trends for 2025, the Trump card. What card is being played now? We're going to see. And we're praying for peace on earth, goodwill to all. Thank you, and please do what you can to donate to our cause. Please go to freedompeacejustice.com and give what you can. Could you imagine if Musk or Bezos or Buffett's or Gates or any of these billionaires gave $1 billion to a peace movement? We'd have peace tomorrow. But they're probably more interested in investing in the military-industrial complex. Thanks for tuning in. Amen and amen.